Good afternoon. Thank you. The world is going to hit 9 billion people in the year 2020, and Nigeria is going to grow as well. What are we doing about this? Are we still locked into our old rigid patterns of unconscious biases? Are we still in cliques and cults and companies and cliches and packaging? As they say, oh, not packaging, Abby. Yeah, package like this, whatever anybody tells you, cut it into half, cut it into quarter, then cut it, then maybe that's the truth. I'm a technologist, also a business futurist. What does that even mean? It sounds like a fancy word. I predict the future, not like a soothsayer or a seer. I go based off of data. We use data and technology. Just like everybody, whether you're Asian, Ghanaian, hi Charlie, or a Yoruba man, everybody comes out, we all look different, we look in the sky, and everybody sees the sky. There's no argument that the sky is blue and the clouds are white. That's how data science works. Now, what we know, all of us, we know things, and there's some things we don't know, and there's some things we don't know that we don't know, right? I'll repeat it one more time. There's some things we know, there's some things we don't know, and there's some things we don't know that we don't know. So it has to humble us, especially if we want to move Africa, Lagos, Nigeria forward. As a technologist, for the last 4 to 5 years, we've started to apply different methodologies. And one of those methodologies I want to talk about is design thinking. What is design thinking? So the design thinking is a concept used when you're trying to create an experience for a client or a consumer. But you have many stakeholders, right? You have the financier, you have the client, you may have the creative director, you may have just different people, and they all have to come to a consensus. Now, how can we use design thinking and bringing it down to cities like Lagos, Kenya, South Africa, just all over Africa? Everybody wants change. Everybody feels that their tradition or their culture, biases, has the best way. You have old, outdated frameworks that are there that are just not working. I like what the AU is doing, but I don't agree with the AU. I think that Africa, the youth especially, and women, has the potential to move the continent forward. In this picture I have over here, here I am. I don't know if you can see the picture. I am in the first, claims. That's why we need data. This is the first meditation chamber in the world. This is in Cairo. Why am I sitting in here? Curiosity took me there. I'm fascinated by culture, civilizations that keep getting referenced today. In Egypt, they have the hieroglyphics. In this chamber over here, you see I'm sitting down, I can see the hieroglyphics, and I wanted to see if there was a consistent pattern that amused the archaeologists and how those things are applicable today. So on design thinking, I stopped at Egypt, where I was Egypt looking at hieroglyphics, and trying to get an idea how that could be applied today in modern day using technology and design thinking and how it could be applied to our daily issues. You have frameworks, you have coalitions, you have different things which are stagnant. As a technologist and as someone who's seen design thinking work, I believe we could integrate that into some of our plans, our business plans, our joint ventures, or put it into MOUs to move organizations forward. I have another picture here. This picture, so there are two industries, two industries I feel that we need to focus on. One of the industries is tourism, and another is healthcare. But let me talk about tourism first. Over here, I'm sitting down in a meditation chamber far away from home. People are saying, well, Alpha, why are you going all the way to Cairo? Isn't there things in Nigeria? Sure. In this picture over here, I am standing in the largest rampart in West Africa. This is called Sumbos Eredo. And Yoruba people say, Ade, you're not pronouncing it right, but it's called Sumbos Eredo. This, from the myth, it was said that it was built, the fence was built to keep the kingdom of Benin out, and it was built by the Queen of Sheba. I don't know how true that is, but through data, we're trying to connect everything together. Now, I find this fascinating because this rampart is not really publicized. Most people talk about other sectors, other quantifiable sectors like oil and gas or finance and different things. I believe that this part of Africa, tourism as well, should be looked into. Anyway, here I am in Africa showcasing our things. I mean, in Nigeria showcasing our things. And I believe we should give myself a round of applause. Can I get one? Thank you very much. I feel encouraged. So over here, I have in my hand, what am I holding? I'm a technologist, so why am I holding a piece of paper? No. That right there is called the Philosopher's Legacy, which I'll show in a different image. Just like many Africans, I was tired with some of the politicians, the good or the bad ones, just talking and making promises, and projects getting stunted when people come into power. They were ignoring data. It went to that same bias, like we know better than you. So what I did was I did a collaboration with a lot of thought leaders around different industries, and I created a heirloom for the continent. So right there in my hand is not a traditional heirloom, but it's a heirloom and artwork that contains data. And the data was peer-reviewed by different people, and this data pretty much shows projections of when Africa will be liberated. So this right here is a close-up. It's a little too close. But this right here is a close-up of the piece. And the piece has certain dates, certain targets we're going to hit. And some of those targets are in alignment with the AU. And I can confidently say surpasses the AU. So when this goes mainstream, when it's exhibited, it's going to highlight all the thought leaders, their industries. We have people in telco, we have people in healthcare, we have people in just different sectors. But this right here is also me endorsing us rewriting our own narratives so that we can then make effective decisions moving forward. Finally, I want to talk about other things that are dear to me, like the youth and women. I'll start with women. I believe women are considerably the future. Women are considerably the future. And how is it tied to design thinking and technology? Design thinking as well, a little bit without getting too technical, is design thinking has an element of empathy. Africa has a lot of yang energy. Does everybody know what yang energy is? Say yes. Like, we must hammer, we must get this, we must get that. No, it's not like that. And women are supposed to be just take a second place. But truth be told, and the way the flow is, according to data, and this is where I go back to design, data sciences, you have a lot of executives now rising in the ranks. A lot of women out there in film, legal, even presidential aspirants. So I feel that with technology, we already have innovation in Africa, methodologies like design thinking, and also opening the doors for women as well. I believe that that's some of the things we need to look at. The second thing is the youth. How many people enjoyed watching or seeing the youth earlier today? Just a few? Well, I did. So the youth are tomorrow, and they're watching us. They're looking at what we're doing. They look at our mannerisms. They look at our political process. Look at our leaders. And I feel that pouring our knowledge into them, but the right kind of knowledge that has been verified, knowledge that we've come to a decision through a consensus design thinking, I believe is the way forward. Thank you.